So my name's Elwyn Gladstone, and this is my brand, Malfy Gin, which I started 2 years ago, 2016. I used to be the head of marketing for a company called Proximo, which was Jose Cuervo, and before that I was in charge of new brands for William Grant. So I took the plunge and started out on my own, and we've launched this brand in about 40 or 50 countries. So I am not an expert at duty-free, but I can give some perspective on sort of baby steps. I think one of the key things with new brand and duty-free is to think packaging, stand out on shelf, and to really make something luxurious that pops. And that's what we spend a lot of time working on with Malfy. Another thing that people have talked about is the local thing is beginning to become a thing. So one thing we've experienced in terms of pushback within the gin category is that if you're in Ireland in the airport, they will say, we only really want Irish gins. If you're in Germany, they may say, we only really want German local gins. So we've used that to our advantage just to get a foothold in Italy. That's in Rome Airport. Which we did. We did a nice ape vehicle, a big tasting selection, and just tried to find various arguments to get into duty free, where we could persuade the buyer that maybe people had enough of limoncello and maybe gin was more interesting choice than limoncello, and to really play up our whole kind of Italian heritage. And so that was a nice promotion that we did. Wasn't very expensive. And it worked very well. And we were very fortunate in that the buyer actually came to us rather than us having to go to the buyer. But I think that's a 1 in a million. We've used up that life for forever. Anyway, worked well, nice. If I could give any other bits of advice, it would be to work with someone when you're starting out that knows what they're doing. And I actually work with Philippe, who has a company called Actium, and they are our brokers who actually know what they're doing. This is a Malfy promotion that we did on one of the US cruise liners. High visibility, looks nice. The cruise liners love the kind of look and feel of the Malfy brand. It has a kind of a nautical feel. And we were very fortunate to get this nice promotion on some of the cruises. And so it's beginning to do something. It's not something, that we're focusing a huge amount of attention. We're not a big enough brand yet, but I think, in small pockets, it can be really interesting. And it's a great, as these gentlemen have described, it's a great way to get some visibility. And it is possible, even as a tiny brand, to make some headway there. So, definitely a channel worth investigating, but not worth losing your shirt on in the initial stages. And everything else these guys have said obviously is great advice. But just from a very small brand perspective, it definitely has, it is a very interesting channel to get into, and there are things you can do if you're creative and you look for the niche. So that's my perspective, really.